I got guys 22 making $200 million over the next 4 or 5 years. I'm constantly telling them that's not a lot of money based upon where you're starting, because you're starting from zero. They're done at 33. That money's taxed. They're paying a 55, 51% tax. Jeans today, the ones they want that they're buying in excess, which they probably don't really need that, cost $2,000. It's not the same. His jeans cost $25. No athlete can afford to fly private all the time. Yet we see so many athletes on their Instagram flying private. I fly Delta. I cannot afford to fly private. I'm just trying to get where I'm trying to go to make the money. I'm not trying to spend the money.
For those that don't know, that was longtime friend of LeBron James, along with being his agent and the owner of Clutch Sports, Rich Paul. For some reason, these comments that Rich Paul made about money, which appeared to be from 3 years ago, for some reason, these comments have been circulating this week on social media. What's even weirder about this, but not surprising, is the fact that people are focusing on the dollar amount instead of focusing on the actual message that Rich Paul was trying to convey. This man is a doofus! Did he just say $200 million isn't enough to live on? I'm serving fresh wiener at 5-Star Frank's and I can't even make $200! This man is out of touch! He's entitled! He doesn't know about the struggle! Once again, social media is overreacting based on emotion. They are looking for something to be pissed off about instead of actually listening to what Rich Paul was saying. Is $200 million a lot of money? Absolutely. Should that be enough money to last the rest of your life? Yes. But I don't care how much money you make, whether you're making 200 million or 200,000. If you don't manage your money properly, you will eventually be broke. For decades, the issue of fiscal irresponsibility, it's pretty much been exclusive to men's sports, mainly because most female athletes weren't making life-changing money. The average NWSL player, they are making less than $70,000 a year, with most teams based in major markets, Los Angeles, New York City, Seattle. The average NWSL player, they are living near the poverty line. Historically, with WNBA players making minimum wage, fiscal responsibility, money management, there was no need for that in the WNBA dump because players didn't have any money to manage. When you're being paid in Ethiopian breadcrumbs, the only thing you really have to manage is making sure you save enough crumbs for the off-season. But now, with the average WNBA player making $600,000 a year, or as they classify themselves in the dump, I'm a millionaire! I'm a millionaire! With the average unknown making $600,000 and a handful of above average unknowns eclipsing $1 million, financial responsibility has suddenly become a concern in the WNBA. And according to a former NBA player who claims to have sources inside the league, WNBA players are beginning to feel stressed and it's impacting their performance on the court. For decades, they demanded money that they hadn't earned. They demanded significant raises in a league that has never generated a single peso in profit. And WNBA players are quickly realizing what Biggie Smalls warned about almost 30 years ago. More money, more problems. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about LeBron James potentially signing with the Rainbow Warriors in Golden State. The Warriors seem to be hell-bent on assembling the oldest roster in the history of the NBA. I explain why LeBron James taking his talents to the city of rainbows will end in huge embarrassing failure. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Do you guys remember Michael Redd? I doubt most of my Gen Z audience has ever heard of him before. When he was playing in the NBA, mommy was still wiping that Gen Z ass with wet wipes. Michael Redd played 12 years in the league, mostly with the Milwaukee Bucks. He was never a star player, he was a career role player. But the reason I mention his background is to give context and some credibility to the claims that he made. Yesterday, Michael Redd posted a lengthy message on Twitter about the growing concern in the WNBA over money management. Check it out for yourself. Oh my stars! I'm so worried! I'm so happy that WNBA stars got what they deserve, but this is really concerning. Who is teaching them how to manage money? Where are the financial advisors? Where are the wealth managers? If we don't help them out, WNBA players will return to being poor. First of all, what stars? When I look at a WNBA roster, it's like looking through a yearbook from a high school that I didn't go to. Lots of faces, lots of names, but I don't recognize any of them. Number two, there's that key word again. The word that was used incessantly during the off-season when they were negotiating their collective bargaining agreement. Deserve. Do I care that the average WNBA player is making $600,000 a season? No. I'm no hater. I'm actually happy for the ladies. I will never wish for anyone to struggle financially, but I'm tired of the media trying to convince me that they deserve it. Oh, these ladies work so hard. They play 2 games a week and only 3 days of rest. The schedule is tough, tough, tough. No one is denying the fact that WNBA players work, but most of the time, compensation is not based on how hard you work or the number of hours that you work. Before starting YouTube, I worked a hell of a lot harder at my other jobs. I also worked a hell of a lot more hours. YouTube pays me more money for less hours and easier work because I provide value. The vast majority of WNBA players that are being paid 6 figures, the value they provide does not match their salary. Now, that being said, Michael Redd is right. He mentioned the quick pace that WNBA players went from minimum wage to being thousandaires, and in a handful of cases, overnight millionaires. Their salaries are available to the general public. It was headline news when AJ Wilson signed a 3-year contract with the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces worth $5 million. She became the highest paid player in the history of pretend basketball, which means here comes the homies. All of a sudden, obscure family members are showing up that you never knew about. WNBA players are finally popular. Of course, they're not popular with the mainstream, but all of a sudden, they are popular with friends and family. My inside sources are telling me that AJ Wilson no longer gets asked for ID to enter the Wilson family reunion. But all kidding aside, money management is a growing concern throughout the WNBA. In the past, we have seen NBA players go broke after making 60, 70, 80, 90 million dollars. Antoine Walker, he made over $100 million, filed for bankruptcy. Derek Coleman, the former #1 overall pick in the draft, he made $91 million throughout his NBA career, still went broke. Why? Poor spending habits, which probably means taking care of the homies, and bad investments. It is already expensive enough being a woman. The other day, our daughter was talking about moving out next year when she goes to college. We sat her down to show her how expensive it actually is to be you. I didn't talk about rent, didn't talk about utilities. I talked about the $20 bottle of shampoo that go along with the $20 bottle of conditioner, the hundreds of dollars spent each month on your hair, the shopping trip you took last weekend where you spent $200. I give you my card to go get a loaf of bread and tell you to get whatever you want from the store. My loaf of bread was $4 and the top shelf sushi that you wanted was $40. Once you walk out that front door, this bougie lifestyle that you're accustomed to living is over because you can't afford it. Now, imagine being 18 years old, or whatever the minimum age is in the WNBA. Maybe it's 21 years old, but either way, imagine being 21 years old. Now, you're accustomed to making minimum wage, and overnight, you're a thousandaire. I can't tell you how many times this season I have seen WNBA players wearing expensive designer dresses just to walk inside of the arena and have their pictures taken. Can't wear the same dress twice. Girl, I can't be caught in the same dress twice. I ain't no scrub. That is no bueno. I gotta stay looking fresh. Women are naturally nurturing. Oftentimes, women feel the need to take care of those around them, their loved ones. Angel Reese recently paid off her mother's mortgage, which is great. But at the same time, she was complaining about her exorbitant $9,000 a month rent. You have some WNBA players who are seeing an 800% increase in salary overnight. And I can tell you from experience, when you go from not having money to suddenly having money, most people's first inclination is to spend because you think that money will last forever. You think, I finally made it. After years of busting my ass, I am finally being rewarded. You think you deserve to live a life of luxury. And there's that word again, deserve. The reality is, average WNBA career, 3.5 years. If you're making $600,000 a season, that's $1.8 million over 3 years. Once you subtract taxes, agent fees, you're taking home, I don't know, $700,000. Can you live the next 40, 50 years on $700,000? Michael Redd is right. WNBA players better be careful. Otherwise, 5, 10 years from now, we will be hearing stories about the first millionaire WNBA player to go bankrupt. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.